guys, Jake and Marisa back again for more live reactions to Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel.
Okay.
Judo jump.
You know there's no such thing?
I know, it's hilarious. That's what makes it a funny gag, that there's no actual chopping in judo.
Because my freshman roommate in college was trained in judo, and she was always really irritated by that part of it.
You enjoying your new foamy, gooey thing that you just... Things like this just arrive in the mail every now and again. I don't know what they are. I have to tell.
Buying things that cost less than $1 from China is my retail therapy.
Yep.
They show up, and I forgot I ordered them.
Yep.
Because they show up months later.
I actually...
Stuff is interesting.
Well, it's not exactly retail therapy, but one thing that I bought today that made me feel better is I've finally got an extra hard drive. Because my computer's been so packed. I can now offload a ton of my, raw footage onto... I picked up a 4 terabyte hard drive for under $100 down at Target. It's great.
This pleases me deeply.
Yes.
It's going to be even more fun when the little microflakes I ordered get here and I sprinkle them in.
But I know I'm going to need a fairly large chunk of those terabytes to finish up year 3. That's going to be... There's going to be a lot of footage, I think. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Oh, is that what you do with your externals? You just offload the live reactions onto them so you have room for the rest of the stuff on your regular computer?
Pretty much.
So you never move the actual stuff?
Well, the thing is that they, if I move things, then it breaks the reference connections. So I need to, like, if I try to open something old, then I need to, like, find where I've moved things to, which I've had to do every now and again. It's very, very annoying.
Fair enough.
Same thing if I upgrade to a new version of Premiere, I sometimes run into that problem too. Anywho, but enough about random slime and hard drives, and as much as I know you're all interested in random slime and hard drives. But this week, we've got some more Power Rangers to see.
This is definitely not slime to bring to work.
Yeah, no, it's like shedding. Why is it shedding?
I don't know.
That doesn't seem...
Well, I think that's part of how it does this.
Yeah, I know. But it still does not seem like the best. Anyway, but we're nearing the end of this run of Super Ninja Steel. We've only got one more after this.
Wait, what? This is the penultimate episode?
Well, this is the penultimate episode before we go on hiatus.
Oh, so when you say this run, you mean this...
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, we're still going to have, like, 12 more episodes and 2 specials when we come back from summer.
I was confused for a moment there.
But this should... But...
I don't have any coins.
We'll find the coin.
I owe a swear jar.
We'll add the coin in then, when you're not all slimy. But yeah, this is going to be and after that when we go on hiatus, that should free up some of my editing time to focus a little bit more on DRPR, because when these things are uploading, exporting, it takes up so much computer energy. I can't do any other form of editing when they're running.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a home studio. Really.
Yeah, it's one of the 3 different reasons that 84 has been taking so long to get done.
I mean,
we have this. We have this, which takes a few hours out of the week. I've got extra tutoring now that I've got all my studies during the semester, so everything's been busier. But,
and when he's uploading, sometimes it's like.
But the kids are the kids that I tutor at the private school are going on spring break soon, so that's going to be nice.
I completely bomb out of my online games. It's like, nope.
Really focus.
Everything's killing me now. I need to play something offline.
Yeah. So, anyway, as we were saying, penultimate before the mid-season finale.
Yes.
And this is episode 7 of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. Need for Speed.
Really?
Earth's greatest ninja sacrificed himself to keep
Earth's greatest ninja in that particular county of California.
Seriously.
to protect the legendary
How many greatest ninjas have there been?
Finally,
Yeah,
Axe was
very
defeated. But the ruthless Madame Odious survived.
Still find it so funny.
Determined to take the stars for herself.
That
Only one team of heroes can
only one
stop
team of
her.
heroes. No. Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. With you guys watching at home.
Ladies and gentlemen,
World speed record.
today Sarah Thompson will try to break the world hoverboard speed record.
The world hoverboard speed record. So
Yes.
she doesn't have the only hoverboard.
Nope, this is a thing. I mean, she even said in like the first episode that she wanted to break the world hoverboard speed record.
She did. We just watched that episode, didn't we?
Yeah, I was rewatching some old episodes the other day. So ridiculous that this is a thing.
The midriff being out is a very bad idea here.
Was her midriff exposed? I didn't actually know. Wait, is this a racetrack?
Yep. Who's the blue?
What? That's not blue. That's
He's got a blue board, and people are waving blue flags.
oh, okay. Who was that? What? And yeah, midriff doesn't make any sense.
Not for style reasons, but for the reason that she's wearing rash guard.
Okay, it's not actually Victor.
No.
Victor broke the record? No way.
I mean, he did say that it was one of his hobbies. I mean, then again, everything is his hobby.
I finally won my 50th trophy!
Interesting.
Victor is the undisputed champ. I'm sorry you weren't going to break the speed record, Sarah.
Man, that Victor will do anything to get a trophy.
Well,
Yeah.
well, we already know that, but
He will do anything to get a trophy. Even cheat!
we know that he cheats. But the thing is, you act like he did something awful just now. He didn't actually.
He kind of did.
Well, yeah, he kind of stole her thunder because he came out of nowhere. How did that even work? How did he break her record when nobody was timing him and he just appeared out of nowhere?
Because they started at the same time and he physically beat her.
But he wasn't there when she started. Go! Power Rangers, Ninja Steel. Evil with all our might, together Ninja Steel.
I have no idea how he managed that.
Give up without a fight, together Ninja Steel. Power Rangers, fear no danger. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go. So now for what is right, together Ninja Steel. Now all day and night, together Ninja Steel. Power Rangers, fear no danger. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, Ninja Steel. Go, go, Power Rangers, Ninja Steel. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, Ninja Steel. But yeah, it was just Sarah there at the beginning, and then he just shows up
It's your shot.
and is ahead.
Somebody shoot for me, please. I need to finish this.
Sarah?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I am working on a new airfoil suit. It'll reduce my wind drag. Oh,
Airfoil
So you
suit?
can break the speed record.
Well, it would help if it didn't expose your midriff.
Yep.
Also, I'm pretty sure that was just rash guard that she was wearing.
Really? You have Palanquin? Palanquin? However that's pronounced?
In the classroom.
Palanquin?
Oh, hello. Someone's jealous.
Victor, once I'm finished with my airfoil suit, your record will be toast.
Listen.
I feel like an airfoil suit isn't going to help that much.
It's mine.
Not for long.
I mean, they do make an awful big deal about like Olympic swimsuits and swim caps.
True.
She's putting on her new racing suit before she tests it, so it'll be just about another minute or so. Cool.
But
But the thing of it is that, and this isn't even about style.
I think it's good to have a goal, to push yourself
The
to be
whole
the best.
purpose of wearing long pants and long.
yeah, you see, nothing about this is.
This is a bad idea.
This suit should allow me to go a lot faster, thank
No,
you.
this suit will not allow you to go a lot faster. This suit has a ton more drag.
You have more weight. You have more. Nothing about this looks right. This is not. The only thing that this suit would allow you to do is fly. Like, it's not going. What? Why? What?
It's reducing her weight, supposedly.
Okay, yeah,
That's
not
what an
good.
airfoil does.
What is happening? Oh, that's.
I mean,
You
here's
are
the thing,
lucky
though.
not to be dead.
Like,
What was that? I didn't even make it to the finish line.
forward thrust is what makes an airfoil work. How
Yeah.
did she not think she was going to lose contact with the board?
Slow as molasses.
I don't know.
Slower than snails in quicksand. Slower than...
We get the point.
I'm Speedwing, the lightning
But-
fast galactic ninja.
Another galactic ninja? How many are there?
This is only the second one you've seen.
Well, yeah, but it's still, you know, another one after having only not being aware that there was more than one before. It's a decent question. Like,
How many of them are there? Kind of makes it sound like there's an unreasonable number, and 2 is not an unreasonable number.
true, but it still is like, it's sort of I think it's more of a sinking in. Like, wait, there's more than one? How many are there? He is very fast.
I got this.
I feel like Ninja Steel, much like Power Reviews, one thing that I feel like Ninja Steel could learn from Power Reviews, some shows just need a scientific and technical consultant. Get Dr. K on the writing staff there to help them out with physics. Or someone else who knows physics. That'd be nice too.
Anyone who knows physics. You know, like a physics teacher.
That'd be cool. Alright.
Here's my plan.
But yeah, no, nothing. The thing is that a hoverboard, like, you're already off the ground. Like, the whole reason to reduce weight would be to reduce friction.
But you've eliminated friction. So really, what you need is not less weight, but more thrust.
Yeah, you need to power up the board more, not reduce. You have the human body does not create that much drag.
Oh man, he's gone.
By the way, how much you want to bet we're going to find out if Monty on the board?
Ninjas are full of surprises. Yeah.
Maybe.
He said he'd be back too.
If the
He's
show
lighter.
I was going to say, if the show is going by the...
What is that?
Oh, his Ninja Star thing.
That's not his gear thing.
It's not his medallion, is it?
No, it's not. It's not shaped for it to be a medallion. And again, rash guard doesn't work if you don't cover your whole body, sweetie.
Yeah. Okay.
Way to get road rash on your belly and your back.
Really?
That's cheating.
Really?
Also, it's a little implausible that it just, you know...
Plugs right out.
Yeah.
It's not actually that implausible. It's magic.
Ready to try a new power source on my board.
As far as I can tell, it's a magic thing. That you just stick it on you, it makes you go faster. You stick it on something else, it probably makes the other thing go faster.
Is that a Ninja Star? Wait,
That's not one of mine.
I don't recognize it. It doesn't look like it's made from Ninja Steel.
It's not. Actually, it belongs to one of those galactic ninjas.
Really? What are you doing with it?
Well, if my theory is correct, it'll make me go a lot faster. It's like new technology, you know? Not breaking any rules.
I'm not sure that using monster technology is a good idea.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes,
Nope.
it's powerful, but it's also,
Don't.
Monster.
predictable.
Powerful and unpredictable. That's great. That's exactly
No, the
No.
unpredictable part's not good. How is unpredictable good? That's not something you want in a scientific experiment.
Okay, sometimes you can focus on one thing so much that you overlook other problems.
This is true. Come on.
super careful. Yeah. Right? Don't worry.
Okay, that was actually kind of funny. She just kind of guessed what his moral was and phased out. Like, at this point, that's fair. Like, you were going to say something about, like, be a good person, yeah, we get it. Okay, I'll see you later.
It's all about the music.
That's, like, it was played a little too goofy, but it's a solid gag in
Well, that's the
theory.
thing about the Kids' Choice Awards. You vote online.
Yeah.
How do they determine that the people voting are actually kids?
Keep it here.
I think it's the same way that other websites determine age.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'll help you find them. Romeo and Juliet.
These just say, are you under 18? It's like, yes.
The freaky.
Yeah, that means it ought to work about that well.
Yeah, exactly.
The cheeky.
So these aren't really the Kids' Choice Awards.
They
The
probably
Internet
are.
Choice Awards.
To form the greatest team ever known.
Well, the kids are going to be more invested. Generally speaking, the kids are the ones who are going to make up the bulk of that demographic.
Maybe.
Because let's face it, not that many adults like they may want to.
The major fans of a given artist that is up for an award.
Yeah, fair enough.
The more you poke him, the more he tempts. You can't tell when he'll fart, that's his aim.
I don't know how the Kids' Choice Awards really worked before the internet.
I think Lucky the Leprechaun found his unicorn on a marshmallow island in the sky, where everyone is always dancing.
But I do remember watching the Kids' Choice Awards when I was a kid.
I like this kid. He's got style.
Cool.
Meet the fashionably furry new shop.
But yeah,
They're super cute,
This-
ultra stylish.
Ninja Steel is really not good about physics.
Each sold separately.
Like,
Celebrate Easter.
again, you're working off of cartoon logic here. If I put wings on and a spoiler on, somehow that'll make me go faster. That's not really how that works with a person.
Their birthday parties are the most
Honestly,
fun ever.
If you really want to,
But the thing is that a spoiler doesn't make you go faster anyway.
No.
It just keeps your back end on the ground when the amount of thrust you're using is liable to cause you to lift off. Which means the problem she has is that she doesn't have a big enough spoiler. But the thing of it is to have a big enough spoiler, she'd have to completely cancel out the airfoils, and that negates the point.
well, I forget exactly how the aerodynamics of the spoiler work, but the
It's an upside down airfoil.
It's season 2. There's so much new. Who's inside?
it's I feel like it's supposed to keep. I don't feel like it's supposed to keep. It keeps the car.
Keeps the car down.
Oh, increasing friction.
Can you find the go-to hatchimal?
Every Saturday, you're gonna have a good
Of course, a lot of spoilers these days are purely decorative and don't do anything.
Yeah, I know.
Don't miss the brand new comedy
But
series.
a spoiler that is actually designed,
Yeah, a properly designed spoiler would increase friction. That's true.
that's what it's for.
Yeah. I don't think about them often.
Tarnish the reputation of the galactic ninjas.
Yeah, you have. You lost your star.
We've already found it. Show them.
You might be working on it. It doesn't go crazy.
After you left, remember that pink
I
ranger?
love Cosmo.
Oh, wow. She dropped a speed striker. How dare she?
You delivered my graphic order 4 hours ago.
Earth and get it
Okay.
back. Yes,
A text notification about the weird thing in the right.
No.
sure you're ready to beat Victor's time, Sarah? Promise you?
This is not going to go well.
Today's the day.
Here's
She would never get the judges of one of these things to show up again that quickly.
I don't know.
The world record judges, you have to make appointments way in advance.
Well, I guess they're still around or something. Okay, here's the issue. Now, in terms of design, like I'm looking at the design of this hoverboard. You know what I'm not seeing?
Thrust?
There's no there's no propulsion coming out the back. What is propelling you forward? Really? Really?
I mean, this is going to backfire. I'm just waiting to see how.
So proud of you. Your hard work is
Why didn't?
Oh, she's gonna feel like
It's not
crud.
that big of a deal.
Yes, it
That's
is.
impossible.
You
That
know.
is my record.
Not anymore.
Oh,
Congrats.
really fast.
Check it out, Mick.
Do you see how Mick just kind of like...
Yeah, I
For
know.
once, mixed salt is actually very valid.
Yep.
Sarah?
Yeah.
What's she talking about?
Yeah, she's embarrassed.
I may have used a speed start to make my hoverboard go fast.
Yeah.
You what?
I'm gonna
That's
get
not-
my speed
that's
start
not-
back and take you all
You-
down.
Seriously, you're using the same rules that, like, Victor and Monty did when applying the anti-grav crystal to the world weightlifting record. It's pretty much the same thing. You're using magic. Or sufficiently advanced technology that...
It's indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
Ninja Rangers, fear no danger. He's slower without a star, but I'm still fast enough to take you all out.
Like, honestly, I don't have that much trouble with them actually using the Speed Star if they were using it responsibly and not for personal gain.
Wasn't that one of Zordon's rules?
Yeah, don't use your powers for personal gain. Now, true, this is not her power, but still.
This piece of junk. Finally, it's mine again. Not if I can help it.
I love how light that sounded when it landed.
Yeah, like it was just... What the...
Speedstar, stuff your helmet. Are you
That's...
okay?
Yeah,
I'm
fine.
fast!
Oh, my legs.
What is... Wow.
Can't stop running.
Wow.
You broke my star.
Really, I hadn't noticed.
What is it?
He needs help.
That's not even Sentai footage.
I'll catch up with Brody on my
That's
board.
that's something that they just... They are really turning this into a cartoon. This show is such a cartoon right now.
Babe, at this point that should no longer...
Okay, no, wait, no, that is Sentai footage now. Okay, they are adapting it from Sentai footage, but even so. One of the things that's always cool about Power Rangers is that it's not a cartoon, it's a live action
It's a
series.
cartoon. You're just gonna have to accept it.
Well, I mean, it's
been going on for a season and a half.
It's trying very hard to be a cartoon.
I should have never used monster technology. If I hadn't wanted to break the record so badly, Brody wouldn't be in trouble.
Listen, everybody wants to be
I don't
That's-
think that's your fault, actually.
No,
True.
that's kind of disconnected.
The bird was gonna come for his star either way.
Yeah.
And give the bird his star is not the answer, so...
Now, they should have kept it in the base. That would have been good. That is amazing.
If Brody can control where he's going, then I have an idea that might work. We'll go after Speedwing, and Brody, you come straight to us. Preston, can you use your element star to make a clear path for him?
Sure can, Sarah. I'll do it now.
This is ridiculous.
Ninja spin! Ninja force attack! Thanks, Presto!
He's like Sonic the Hedgehog now.
Storm Star! Ninja spin! Ninja tornado attack!
This is, I will admit that of all the cartoony things that we've had, this is probably the most entertaining.
And at least this one did count for Sentai.
That's true.
Have a magical smile.
You have spinach in your teeth.
But tonight, you can do magic. And you can throw really hard.
But yeah, no. You want your hoverboard to go faster? Give yourself, put a jet on it. There's nothing, how are you even moving forward? There's nothing pushing you forward.
It's almost like it's trying to operate off of maglev technology without the track.
Yeah, but even that...
But you need the track for maglev because it puts more on the back than it does on the front, and that's how it propulses it.
Yeah. There's no propulsive force with this thing. What causes it to move forward? The jets are on the bottom, that keeps it up, but you need to have a jet on the back.
I'll tell you what keeps it moving forward. It moves forward every day based on its drive for self-improvement.
Okay.
Okay. It teaches everything. How to read.
You were really struggling with that one, weren't you?
Science.
I I forgot where I was going halfway through, but then I remembered.
Okay. I kind of picked up on the forgot where you were
You
going.
can visit the zoo. This is so
Alright, but
you can do anything you want.
yeah,
Even when you're on games, you can learn.
Power Rangers Ninja Steel is just or Super Ninja Steel is just finding amusing ways to be
You
wrong.
can learn wherever you go.
Like each new episode.
You read a whole chapter.
Because specifically with regard to us.
And those hard
'Cause, like,
things, they love me.
Episode 5 we had the gaming episode.
I love it so
which-
much. I am Mario.
You enjoy gaming.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Then we had the theater episode, which was both of us.
Yeah.
And now we have the episode that's failing in physics for the science character. It has
Morph board. The only
And now we're getting an advertisement for the Morph board.
Yeah.
that transforms in seconds.
it's got
Drop extensions in the board.
it's really funny how it keeps falling into our wheelhouse of things where we're just like,
One board.
that's not how that works.
Separately, adult supervision
Also, I'm really concerned about that thing. So there's a reason that the decks of
Beyond
skateboards are made up
Not
of.
afraid.
Yeah.
I know what I have to
You actually spent any time doing like jumps and stuff. The landing is eventually going to split that board.
You know what I like
Probably.
about
Right down
Snoopy?
If not decouple the wheels.
I mean, I don't know what it's made of, but it
Looks
does
like
not.
plastic to me.
Well, yeah,
Apple slices and a clip-on Snoopy
there are various
toy in
different
every
varieties
McDonald's
of
Happy
plastic.
Meal.
I highly doubt that it's like
It's probably not as strong
Are
as
you
it
gonna
should
be in
be.
college forever?
That looks breakable.
Not forever. Close your eyes. I have a surprise for you.
Like, it
That's
should
what I'm
be
saying.
like fiberglass.
It's not fiberglass. We know it's not.
Yeah.
goodness of apples.
But anyway,
We should come home more often.
yeah, like you want to
This is the most dangerous
here's you want to know how you could cut down on wind resistance? Treat it like a luge.
Night Squad. Tonight, after an all-new Thunder incident,
That would work.
keep it here.
The other thing I was thinking was to work on the composite of your neoprene to make yourself smoother
Yeah, but that's
and cover your midriff, because the whole reason that these suits exist is, you know, so that if you fall off the board,
You don't
you don't road rash yourself. That's what
Yeah.
it's called, rash guard. You're gonna get road rash all through here if he falls off that thing.
oh, he just had.
Yeah, he did.
Can't stop running. That Speedstar sure is unstable.
Yeah, if it had broken while I was on my board, I'd be in big trouble. Thank goodness we're okay.
I feel like I've run a marathon. Well, more like 50. It's time for the final lap. Let's go get that monster. Yes,
The
sir.
sound mix just seems a little off.
Power of a ninja.
What? How are you catching up with him now?
Some of the Sentai footage in this looks lower resolution than it usually does. There was this, and there was the bit with Preston on the back of the dragon.
I think you're starting to notice the changes in film quality. It's still high definition. It's just that the lighting is different, and the material is as well.
Line fire red. Super steel slash. Ninja.
But the main thing is the lighting is different at this juncture.
Well, it wasn't really the lighting that I said. When I say lower resolution, I meant that it looked like digitally lower resolution. I know what different resolutions look like. I'm not seeing a lighting change.
Galactic Ninja deserves a speed encore.
We haven't had a Skull Gator in a while. It feels like.
Wow, I forgot they were even from this season.
Flying fire sword star.
Well, I mean they're from
Ninja
Ninja Steel. We haven't had them in Super Ninja Steel yet, to my recollection. I'm not sure if we've had any since Ripcon released, but I would have to double check that. It's been a while.
Ninja fusion sword. Combined.
Hey, we haven't had the Fusion Sword in a while.
Yeah, he sticks out the back.
Ninja fusion
His
sword.
legs like that.
Yeah, but he does that when his Megazord's on its own as well. Oh, Levi gets the
We're good to go, bro.
Master Blade.
All right, guys. Attack.
Time to earn my wings.
To earn your wing.
Now let's pluck this chicken.
That's classic Power Rangers right there.
Oh no! I'm
That
strongest.
that giant bird on top of his head still looks so ridiculous.
To defeat me.
Like, I know Power Rangers monsters are always ridiculous, but this one is just like, he's just plopped right on
He
top.
is next level ridiculous.
Don't worry, this sword can fly too.
What? Oh yeah, I guess it can.
Yeah, it's a spaceship.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh
Yeah.
Shut down by Earth ninjas.
See, because I assume this is Sentai as well, right?
Oh yeah, it's
Right, and the Megazord battles don't have that look that the one shot with Preston and then that long shot with the Rangers running had.
interesting. I mean, obviously the cockpit footage is
I wonder if for some reason those were like sized up to cut something out.
possible. There's occasional cannon scan stuff going on. Although that's usually that was really more prominent back when Sentai was widescreen and Power Rangers wasn't. That made things awkward for a couple of years.
Show's over. Ninjas win.
I've always preferred letterbox to pen and scan myself.
Yeah, but letterbox would be too noticeable.
I've now recovered the medallions from Speedwing and Wolverine. If the others are defeated, I'll have all four.
With
Okay.
the ninja power in those medallions, you can unleash your secret plan, and the Rangers will be doomed.
Okay.
What secret? I mean,
What?
I guess that's why it's a secret, but
I don't. If they're working for you, can't you just
Where's Victor? Is
ask
he about
for
to
the
try to break
medallion?
my record again?
Yep, he's doing his second now.
I don't know what her plan is. I'm curious to find out what it
What do I
is.
gotta do first?
Oh, she's gonna return the trophy and.
Sorry, excuse me? Hi. I have something I want to
That was
say.
a weird zoom out.
Okay. This trophy is for being the fastest hoverboard rider in history, and it's an honor just to hold it. But I'm not proud of how I made my hoverboard go faster. I mean, technically I didn't break any rules, but I was just so obsessed with being the best that I put myself and my friends in danger.
Okay.
I did things that were, well, just plain wrong. So, what are you saying? I'm giving the trophy back.
Okay.
That was really brave, Sarah. We're proud of you.
Thank you, guys.
that was a very diplomatic way to
I guess
put
the
it.
trophy
Yeah.
goes to...
What? Why were you there? What were you doing?
Right?
What are you wearing?
They're pajamas.
Sorry we're late.
What? Why?
Victor was just turbocharging his hoverboard, but he's ready to race now, aren't you,
What?
buddy?
What?
It's remote control. It's a dummy.
How is that better? How does?
What are you doing?
Remember, they're going with the conceit that lighter is better.
I'm
So
fast I can be in two places at once. Whoa!
What?
So, you know, if the dummy is, you know, hollow
It's a fake.
and lighter than a human,
So that's how you went so fast? That mannequin doesn't weigh anything.
Okay.
So it wasn't you on the hoverboard at all. You're a big phony. Give me that.
Weight doesn't affect the speed of a hoverboard to this extent. Like,
oh my god, she's really vindictive. You hear the contest lady's going, better run, boys.
she's very unhappy with
Victor's
that.
record seems to have fizzled. Perhaps you'd like to try again.
Yeah, sure, go for it. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be... Actually,
What's
I
happening?
think I got a little overexcited about beating the record. I mean, I will some other time, but for now, I'm just gonna enjoy hanging out with my friends.
What? Okay.
I'm
Sure.
pretty sure that's...
They're like, okay.
So did we come out here for nothing, people?
Yeah, that's what her face just said. It's just like, what?
Now, did your time from the... If her time from the first run would have broken the record,
Yeah.
but he also broke the record, then by this transitive property, the trophy actually should go back to her for her first run, which was legitimate.
If her first run broke the record.
Yeah.
How does somebody build a hoverboard without knowing how hoverboards work?
Super Ninja Steel. Don't
this a brand new episode.
Because here's the... I mean, like...
Well, that's assuming they built the hoverboard. I mean...
I guess.
In a world that has hoverboard racers, you could probably just buy a stock hoverboard.
Probably. But, like, why is it...
And since they were using a dummy, and we're going with the conceit in this universe that the weight on the hoverboard matters, which it doesn't...
I mean, it matters... The only matter in which the weight on the hoverboard matters is in terms of how much power it needs to output for lift. Lift and forward propulsion are two different vectors.
Well, there's one other thing.
Which is?
Overcoming inertia.
That's fair. But... okay, yeah, that's fair. But, so that
it wouldn't affect the terminal speed, it would just affect the acceleration.
Yeah. Okay, that's legitimate at least. It means that, yeah. So you can accelerate a bit more. That's true.
But the longer the track is, the less it matters.
Yeah.
And that was a race car track.
And
the acceleration, relative of human beings, over the course of a racetrack, isn't going to matter.
Right.
So you're still functionally correct.
Also, now I just realized why. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is why mannequin, okay, airfoil, stupid.
Well, the airfoil would have things up anyway.
You're killing me here. You're killing me here. You've been so good.
This is the part where you can see that I did it.
I see it. But here's
Make it easier for him to find when he's editing.
Here's the thing. Inertia is based on mass, not weight.
Right.
So the airfoil does nothing.
Exactly.
It actually makes everything worse.
Because it has more mass. Yes.
Your airfoil was the worst idea.
Plus, she had a spoiler on her back.
Yeah.
Which was only going to increase drag.
Everything about that was just a bad idea. Like, if you're trying
the spoiler was insufficient anyway, because she took off.
I'm not even sure if that thing was operating as a spoiler. I think it was just an extra airfoil.
Well, it can't operate as an airfoil from behind her.
It was up enough. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it was like here.
Well, it stuck out and then had this... I don't know. It was weird.
He said.
Nothing about the physics of this episode works.
No. Except possibly the dummy.
Yeah, that is a good point, that in terms of...
Overcoming initial inertia.
That's true. Your acceleration
it would go 0 to 60 a lot faster.
That is true.
But the thing of it is, over the course of a mile, assuming that it's race car tracks are like a mile around, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Maybe,
no, wait,
maybe that was like a quarter mile. So, you know what, the dummy I'll go with. Like, the whole thing with the airfoil...
Nonsense.
Was nonsense.
Absolute nonsense.
It's not weight that matters, it's mass. Weight only matters in terms of, overcoming your initial weight so that you can hover.
Now,
Once you're hovering,
if they were doing
hovering.
the 100 meter, the dummy would have made a major difference.
Right. So
but they're not doing the 100
I mean, it was a pretty short track, so maybe it was short enough that it made a difference. I don't know why they just had this random racetrack close by, but okay. That was weird.
It looked like a car racetrack, and a car racetrack would not actually be that short.
Yeah.
So, maybe it was a go-kart track?
Maybe. They definitely had...
a zipper on my shirt.
They definitely had some really steep banking curves.
Well, that's why I was thinking it was an actual...
It seemed like an actual racetrack.
Which would just imply, not that it was shorter, but that they were going that much faster.
Yeah.
If they could do a lap that fast. All the more reason, though, if the terminal velocity is that high, that the acceleration factor would not matter.
But yeah, I can roll with the remote control dummy. Wow.
What?
I just had a realization.
In this episode,
Victor and Monty had the best physics. What just happened? Victor and Monty had the best physics of the episode. How does that happen? What? What? I had so many, like, delayed realizations on how the physics of this episode was operating. And, wow. Wow. That is amazing. We're in backwards world. Victor and Monty had the best physics of the episode. Because they reduced the mass. Force is equal to mass times acceleration. You reduce the mass, you increase, it leads to an increase in acceleration with the same amount of force. Note, we're still not seeing any propulsion forward on either of these hoverboards, which makes no sense. That is weird. That is crazy.
Your students are going to be getting a lot of hoverboard word problems, aren't they?
Probably not. I mostly tutor them on what they're covering, and they've been. There hasn't been a lot of Newton's second law in their current material, or conservation of momentum or any of that. Although they have been working on balancing forces, but still, it's just okay. I know that we harped a lot on the physics of this episode. But let's actually get into the story a little bit.
I think it was a very diplomatic way, because technically, like we said, I mean, it was cheating, I think, in our point of view, but
yeah,
she can't very well tell them she used monster tech.
Yeah, I mean, nobody... Here's the thing about this universe.
I know that monster tech exists.
Well, yeah, I know. But apparently, turning yourself invisible is a form of cheating. When you're in the middle of a tennis match, even if you're wearing stuff to cover up your invisibility.
Yeah, anyhow.
Yeah.
Point being, the way she described it, she said that,
Yeah.
you know, she was not proud of how she did it because she took risks and endangered other people.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't technically cheating, she did not feel she deserved the award, and that was a good way of going about that.
Yeah, I think it could have been phrased less awkwardly, but I got the intent.
Yeah.
Also, Sarah was just not a cool person.
No, just in general, she was not a cool person this episode.
This was one where just little aspects didn't quite play. Overall, the premise was solid, as was the lesson intended to be learned. You know, don't let yourself get tunnel vision and overlook, you know, the right thing to do.
It's more important to do the right thing than the thing that helps you win.
I feel like she jumped on using the star a little too easy.
Too fast? Yeah.
And actually using it in the race felt wrong. Like, I felt like she was going to test it.
I mean, part of the difference between this and the Barbell situation is that in the Barbell situation, he was using the technology to make himself look stronger. Whereas in this particular case, she was using technology to enhance technology. So there was the understanding that your board did not have to meet any particular criteria, which, you know.
Yeah.
That being said, it was still the wrong thing to do.
There were also...
I don't understand why there weren't board inspections.
There were
How do you set a proper record without having conditions for the record? And the conditions for the record, because remember, the record is not fastest board. It's fastest board rider.
Right.
So if it's the fastest board rider, then you ought to be using comparable boards. But they don't seem to care about that.
Or maybe you are trying to make the fastest board. I don't know. Which makes you question why she wasn't trying to enhance her board instead of
enhancing herself,
putting wings on herself. Which, like, I saw an image of that on Twitter, and I'm just like,
are you trying to fly?
That looks ridiculous, and I don't know why you would do that. And now that I've seen the episode, I'm like, that looks ridiculous, and I don't know why you would do that. they were a little too angry at Victor, considering he as far as they knew, he got the award legitimately. Which,
honestly, I think that the way that could have gone at the beginning, that would have been a little bit more of an appropriate kind of thing.
Yeah.
If they're, mad at Victor, would have been all like, he cheated. I know he cheated. I don't know how, but I know he cheated.
Well, yeah, it was really obvious and no one was saying it. Also, who was timing him? Why was anyone timing him when he was not at the starting line? Like, what?
I mean, I suppose they're going with the conceit that if he starts after her from behind her,
and then passes her,
that he must be going faster than her.
Yeah, but they said beat the record by 10 seconds. What? Who was timing him? Also, where was he coming from?
A bush. And then he went into another bush. Well, the mannequin went into another bush.
Yeah.
Where Victor was hiding in a ghillie suit.
Yeah.
And nobody seemed to notice. He wasn't even in the bush. He was against the bush in a ghillie suit. How did nobody notice this?
Why was he hiding as a bush instead of just in the bush? If the bush was sufficient to hide the mannequin, why wasn't it sufficient to hide him?
Victor.
There are so many questions about this race.
If he went inside the bush, I would have believed that a lot more than him standing outside the bush in a ghillie suit. I know that ghillie suits are hard to see under many circumstances, but a guy standing up in a ghillie suit on a sunny day, even if he's got his face in the video, is going to be seen. You see, ghillie suits work best when you lay down, because...
well, here, I don't know why, much like last week, we have, like, a solid premise that is hard to really grasp onto because the circumstances of the premise are set up so strangely and counterintuitively that it's really weird and distracting. Like, don't let your, drive overpower your ethics is an important lesson. But it was just being handled in this really weird situation, where it's like, he did beat her in a race under really suspicious circumstances. And she's now being extra sketchy about it. Like, she knew what she was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
And she was doing it anyway. And she was
if
really...
If you think you have to hide it from Mick, you know you're doing the wrong thing.
She was oddly cavalier about that, too. Like, they were trying to play up the humor of it, but it really just made her seem like not a good person when she just kind of tuned out Mick. The way that she tuned him out.
Yeah, I mean, not that he isn't freaking condescending, but...
Yeah. No, he is. But
I figured he got that salty living as a slave for 10 years.
That's fair. But if you're going to, like, zone out on somebody, or more specifically, if you're going to have a good character zone out on someone, giving them a lesson, please give them something, a reason to zone out. Because she was just like...
they're suddenly carrying the jerk ball.
Yeah, like, something like, making an adjustment on the board, or already gone. Like, that would have also been funny. It's just like, you need to make sure to do this, that, and you are already gone. Like, that's always a funny bit. The "you are already gone" is always a funny bit. But yeah, there were a number of things about this episode that were fun and made sense from an emotional standpoint.
I mean, it wasn't as bad as the last two.
It's just we didn't have quite we didn't have a totally broken Aesop. Yeah. We just had a really forced one.
Forced is better than broken.
that is true. Like Sarah was, she knew what she was doing was wrong, and she was giddy about it in really weird way. It felt counterintuitive to the character.
I don't know, between that and her trying to break her mom up with whatchamacallit's dad.
Yeah, that was
starting
just
to
weird.
get
That
this
was weird,
idea
too.
that Sarah is just a mean girl.
She's been kind of selfish lately. Like, this is the third... Actually, come to think of it, like, with the exception of the Princess Vieira episode, where she had to be sort of the good person by example, she's not,
mean girl.
she's not been cool.
No.
She's been... Sarah's not a nice person, really, for the most part. I mean, she was cool in, like, her first episode. You know, in when she was introduced, but since then, she's cheating on everything with holographic versions of herself. She's being kind of, you know, rude to her mom, and then in the next episode, where the focuses are, she's flat out manipulating her mom's life, and now she's using alien technology to cheat at things. Like, she is a disrespectful person who...
Yeah, and I don't remember, but wasn't she the one that suddenly got really competitive during the food fight situation?
Probably.
Started the food fight,
She is a competitive person.
Started the food fight, and then blamed the other, because it wasn't.
No. Victor and Monty started the food fight.
Right, but she's the one who immediately pointed the finger at the...
Oh, that's right. That's right. She was the first one to point. She's not nice.
She pointed the finger at the opposition immediately.
Like she was cool in, like, her introduction episode.
A little.
Where she, you know, stood up for Victor and Monty messing up Preston's magic show. And she's, like, nice to Preston.
So she likes Preston.
Yeah, pretty much, actually. Come to think of it, that calls to mind something from an interview that was just released, like, yesterday, that Seamus did with Peter Sidarso for Den of Geek, about being on Indie Steel. Yeah, apparently they had actually been deliberately playing it up as Sarah has a crush on Preston, and Preston's too clueless to notice.
Well, that would explain why she's nice to Preston.
Yeah, Preston's the only one she's actually nice to. She's kind of not a nice person to most other people. With, like, I suppose maybe the exception of Haley, because they have
best friends.
Because they have their little snap hair flip thing.
Which, for also to me, just says Mean Girls.
Yeah, they were kind of celebrating manipulating people. That's not great. I mean, it was super
I'm sorry,
cute. But the context was not great.
It was cute, but it was also like Shades of Heathers.
That's not cool. That's not cool. So
that was more out of character for
Haley
than it was for Sarah.
For Sarah, because although honestly, you know, the more I think about it, Haley's although she seems very sweet a lot of the time with Calvin.
Haley's not sweet. I mean, she may seem a little sweet.
Yeah.
What Haley is that Sarah isn't is more diplomatic.
Yes.
And a little bit more concerned about appearances.
But
which means that she'd be less likely to...
Now I'm looking at Haley's episodes and it's like, okay, well, there was...
She's not a very good girlfriend.
There was that whole thing with... Well, she's very supportive a lot of the time, and she's had good moments where she is supportive or forgiving when Calvin makes mistakes. But then
she's also supporting and forgiving.
But she's not admitting
mistakes he didn't make.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you messed up.
She has a.
But I forgive you. She's the one who messed up.
She has a.
It's condescending.
A false magnanimity.
Yeah.
I think that's the word. And that's a little weird.
She's condescending, is what she is.
Yeah, a little bit.
even to her own boyfriend.
Um,
In fact, when you add some of that together with the supportiveness, it's kind of like, aww.
he's like her pet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Condescending. Wow! The writers wrote the girls really.
Or at the very least, not as good people.
Wait, is that a swear?
Yeah, sure, why not? I know it's not technically, but it's a word that wouldn't be used on Power Rangers, so. But anyway. That's one of the things. This episode, it was not as bad as some other episodes which have had, serious flaws in the structure of the which have had flaws in the lesson or the structure of the episode or things like that.
No, the scaffolding is all in place here.
The issue with this one is actually the issue that I have with it's one of my big issues with Operation Overdrive, which is the characters. It makes you like the character less, and it plays the character as a worse person. And that is an issue that...
Yeah, Ronnie suffered from that a lot.
All the Overdrive.
I know, but I just seem to... I distinctly remember the episode with Ronnie going completely nuts.
Yeah, well, she had a really competitive episode, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, Will was pretty bad. Dax had his whole thing where he screwed up with that movie. Mac was,
Mac.
being whiny father, whiny daddy's boy, whatever. Rose got, Rose had got to the weird thing with her backstory about just not being good at anything, so I decided to be smart. That's not how being smart works.
Also decided to become a pirate for some reason.
Taizan just lost any sense of character after his intro arc and was just trying to be all these other people who were already established as awful.
Which made him come off to me a little bit like Aximile.
Yeah, but not in a fun way, really. Well, sometimes, I guess in a little bit of a fun way, but it was in a weird way in this case. But yeah, I feel like that's something that Power Ranger
and then
writers
we've got
need
the
to be
boys
careful about.
lying all the time for no apparent reason.
Oh yeah, there was the whole lying business.
But not just there, but also then they did it again later, and then it's like, didn't you just learn that lesson?
Yeah.
Boys, come on!
Wait, which case are you talking about? Are you talking about last week with, well, last week was really, it was more so Haley.
Yeah, it was also Preston.
Yeah, Preston just keeps getting roped into lying for people. What's up with that?
He does.
For both sides of that couple. I don't know what...
Preston, man up! No insult to Peter. Didn't write this.
Preston just kind of really gets pushed around by a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Like, he gets bullied. First he gets roped into things by Calvin. He gets bullied around by Haley. His father doesn't respect him. I feel really bad for Preston. But at the same time, he can't follow instructions either.
Do the spells in order.
It's not complicated, dude.
There's only 10 of them in this book anyway.
Oh, these... You're... I will admit, in terms of things that were great, that were enjoyable at least, okay, Madame Odious has a plan. That's good. Doesn't make sense so far. Hopefully it will. We don't know, but hopefully it starts to make sense. That'd be great. The lesson was at least,
Comprehensible.
We are back with being the lesson in sync with the story, even if the execution at the end. The lesson was forced, and the execution at the end was very awkward.
Okay.
Somehow Victor and Monty finally
Had the
figured out
best
how physics works,
and everyone else forgot.
which is ridiculous. Adults are still clueless as they have been in other competitions, with the exception of that one fisherman who could tell that a cloth fish is not a real fish.
And I'm not even sure why they had Monty in there. I guess it was to make the fish wriggle, but the thing of it is that the fish should have been dead anyway.
I don't know. Maybe he just had to hold it up because it hadn't rigged it properly yet. I don't know. That's one of the funny things with the Victor and Monty bits.
If you're going to make a fake fish, can you at least make it out of rubber?
Every now and again, Victor and Monty will have this con that they're doing. But the thing is, you gotta think to yourself, how did they even set up this con? Like, how did they get the fish onto the stage like that? How did they get the, netting full of water balloons up there and have that work? Like,
how was that netting of water balloons supposed to open up and drop balloons rather than falling as one large bag of balloons?
Actually, come to think of it, here's a good question. How'd they get back from Africa?
How'd they get down from the sky?
Apparently, everything comes down from the sky eventually.
How'd they get down from the sky alive?
They're made of... Actually, to be fair, they were surrounded by a pretty... by a pretty cushiony wrapping that's actually somewhat reasonable. Arguably.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. It makes more sense that they would survive while ensconced in, the webbing.
I don't care how ensconced your body is.
Yeah.
If you take that fall and then you hit the ground, you're gonna get Gwen Stacy.
You'd think so. Except for a few things. One, Gwen Stacy snapped her neck due to the whiplash. Two, Sarah was flying through the air, collided with a monster, and landed on the streets. She should be... If Victor and Monty should be dead, so should she.
Well, I was giving her a pass for being a Power Ranger.
Yeah, that's pretty much what she
Victor and Monty get a pass for being cartoon characters.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah. This was one that involved a fair bit of baffled. Okay, so much yelling that we lost track of how much space we had on our SD card. Whoopsie! Yeah, we also need to actually be heading out to meet with some friends this evening.
Plus you only deleted about 3 minutes, so...
That's also true. So, I did like the Roadrunner cartoon thing in the end. It ended up being funny.
It was a fun gag.
It added some liveliness to the fight scene.
It was ironic that Victor and Monty got the physics right for once. It was a romp, and we're gonna run out of space.
And Brody is also just goofy.
Yeah.
This was actually using his goofiness for once. It's acknowledging he's a goofy Red Ranger. Anyway, so yeah. Hopefully, some things will come together into something next week when we have our mid-season finale, but it's probably just going to be a filler episode.
Probably.
We'll see what happens. Who knows? I was hoping it might, considering we're only halfway through the Galactic Ninjas, it'll probably be a filler episode, I would imagine. Unless we get the last two all at once. Who knows? Anywho, enough of that.
Yeah.
We only have a limited amount of space. So until next time, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you. Brody the Hedgehog, Brody the Hedgehog.